Welcome to my iMac upgrade. When I bought this iMac, I bought it with the mentality that one day I will be upgrading. And this is a 2017, mid-2017 iMac 21-inch with a 4K display. The bottleneck in this particular iMac was always the hard drive, the mechanical hard drive. And I hated that since the first day. And now it's time, it's out of warranty, so I'm not worried about that. I've had it for a year, I've put up with it, it's out of warranty, finally time to upgrade. Now, to upgrade the hard drive itself is not even that hard. I'm going to go a little bit more, a step further. I'm going to upgrade the RAM sticks as well. So I'm going to go from 8 GB of RAM to 16, and from 1 TB Fusion drive to a 8 Evo Samsung 500 GB. I couldn't upgrade the flash memory or the NVMe drive because Apple uses their own proprietary dock. So by the time something's going to come along, right now there's nothing out there, so I'm going to be using what I've got. Now I don't have the little pizza wheelie thing, so I'm going to be using one of these things to take the glue out. I'm going to go get started with this. Right, so the glass is almost fully off. Now I'm watching MacSales.com YouTube channel, and they have a how to upgrade install memory in a 21-inch iMac. So whilst I'm doing this, I'm going to watch what they're doing so that obviously I know exactly where each screw goes and how to put it back together once I'm done. So whilst I'm doing this, I'm also gonna be watching what they're doing, so I'm doing what they're doing basically. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do from memory is to start with these little ribbons here. So I'm gonna pull this one out. There you go. And that is the inside of my iMac. This is the corporate. That's really upsetting me. There's quite a lot of dust, so I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup as well whilst I'm here. So to fully take the glass off, I have to peel this one here. There's also a similar one this side. And then I'm gonna break away the last bit with this. And that is the glass. So the next step is to actually remove the hard drive. We're using a x10 bit. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I know there's different types of screws. There's two long ones, there's a really short one, and there's one that's in between. So I need to memorize all of that when I'm going to put it back together. So let's quickly do that. That's one. As I said, it's somewhere in between, and this is the really short one, or should be, from my memory. Oh, this is a long one, only has threads right at the end. Okay. And then the SATA is here. It's not a very long cable, so I gotta pull. That's the hard drive out. So To swap the hard drive, it's really easy as getting the other hard drive. This is how it's going to sit. So I'm going to take the little glued and then swap it over. Same with this other one. So that's done. That's ready to go. The hard bit is to get to the RAM, and I'm gonna do that. The next thing I need to remove is the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna, which actually sits right here. So there's 5 screws, Phillips screwdrivers, really small ones. So I'm gonna start doing that now. So next thing I need to do is get the power supply out. So to do that, I need to first unhook some of the cables that goes to and from the power supply. One there, and then one here. So that's now the power supply disconnected. This is the cable that goes to the power button, and this is the cable that actually supplies the motherboard with the power. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is actually pull the power supply out, holding it from its sides, because it can still hold the charge. It's an exposed power supply. There's still some cables to pull out. There's one that connects deeper into the Mac. So I gotta squeeze the button and pull it out. And there's another one here that I gotta squeeze and pull out. And that's the power supply. Right, so the next thing I need to do is to remove the bay itself using a Torx T8. It only has one screw. And then the bay can just be lifted out. Okay. You rub the cables, and that's the bay out. So the next thing I need to do is to remove the actual fan. It's held by 3 T10 screws. There's one here. There's one here. And there's another one right there. That's the fan out. So we've got some cables to disconnect. The first one is the camera cable right here. That's one. There's another one right here. Which you can just pull on. And the little microphone cable right there, which you have to lift the little tab, and then it just comes out. The next thing I'm going to disconnect is the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi cables. There you go. Put them aside. Hopefully I'll remember how they went. 2 more cables left on the motherboard. There's one here. And then the last speaker cable, which will come out as the other one did. There you go. Okay. Right, so we're almost there. 4 more screws that hold the motherboard. One. Two. 3. And goodbye warranty. That's it. Now it's time to wiggle the motherboard out. So let's try and wiggle this motherboard out. There we go. And 2 more screws right here. The SATA connection, which goes to the hard drive and the power cable. And that's it. This is it. And this is the culprit. This is the M.2 drive, which I can't get hold of a 500 gigabytes one. If they are any, they're super expensive because Apple uses their own proprietary dock, which does not work with any other M.2s out there. So let's change the RAM. Right, so we're at the last stage where we're gonna upgrade the RAM. It's very easy. Just squeeze on these and the RAM's gonna pop out. That's a 4 gigabytes RAM. And the same thing with this. Now this one has a heat shield, which I need to transfer over. So this is crucial. There's 16 gigabytes kit. There's one, and there's the second one. Let's put this aside and transfer the heat shield on one of them. It doesn't really matter which one, just peel it off. So this would go this way. I'm gonna just transfer it over on this side. Okay, so with the RAM installed, now all I gotta do is do everything I did backwards. So I'm gonna queue up a time lapse for you guys to see how I put it together. The iMac was installed. Everything's turned properly. I've logged into my Wi-Fi and I'm waiting now to see if I can see the drive and the RAM. Good news, everything works so far. The Samsung is readable. I just need to format it and get it to install. As soon as I've done that, I'll get some more information how to actually use the Fusion drive. I don't know if I really need it, but I'll get some information. But before I do that, I'm just gonna do a fresh install on my Samsung, and the 1 terabyte drive is put in an enclosure, which I'm gonna use as an external drive. Right, so macOS Sierra is installing. It's worked like a treat. And then I will confirm the RAM once we're in macOS Sierra. And here we go, 60 gigabytes of RAM installed. That's all the upgrades, that's perfect, I'm really happy.